Chamber Member Kerry Weston of Sutherland Weston Marketing Communication asked this question. Given the importance of growing this economy, what plans do you have, if any, for restructuring Department of Economic and Community Development? Libby Mitchell.
I would certainly make the Department of Economic and Community Development front and center of my administration. I would also make sure that they're coordinated with other agencies like state planning. Perhaps we should just put making sure that the regulations that the people have to deal with are easily handled through this one department, a one-stop shop, if you will, as businesses try to grow and expand, that they have a place to go that can help them go through the Department of Environmental Protection and all the other agencies, agriculture, the things that are important to them as they get their businesses done. So it would be front and center. It would be at the forefront of any cabinet discussions that I ever had, because economic development is the #1 concern of this state. We need jobs, and we need them now, and this department needs to become a cheerleader. Not only should we support existing businesses, but we should go out and help entrepreneurs, and we should promote programs in our schools and in our universities that encourage young people to create their own jobs. That's where the new jobs are coming from entrepreneurs who are creating their own businesses. And the Department of Economic and Community Development should be in the forefront of helping people get to that goal.
Pat McGowan.
Habib Dagger. We went to a debate last week when every candidate, both Democrats and Republicans, mentioned his name. So I think there's probably some good karma there. So I'll mention Habib's name here in this debate. But I would combine the Bureau of Professional Regulation, the State Planning Office, and the Department of Economic and Community Development into one agency that would save a lot of money. The other thing that I would do, and this is from my own personal experience, from owning a small business, from changing the dynamics of a federal agency that formerly had a 20-page application for a loan to a small business to a 2-page application done on a high-speed fax machine, turned around in 2 days for over $100,000 for loans under $100,000, to do similar type efforts and combine the initiatives that FAME, Small Business Administration, Economic Development Administration, Community Development Block Grants. These are all tools that lay in different toolboxes around different garages in state government. We need to put them together and show them the opportunity. Can you imagine if the federal government had not taken that TARP money and given it to the fat cats on Wall Street, but used it in a small business leverage to make loans on Main Street in Bangor today, this economy would be in much different condition today.
Rosa Scarcelli.
Well, I will get rid of Department of Economic and Community Development in favor of a business development office, and I will put every single economic development tool that is now housed in every different agency and put it under one roof, and then evaluate them. I'm the beneficiary of tax credits. I know that tax incentives work, and I know that a pine tree zone for the entire state of Maine is not targeted investments. So we are going to put everything under one roof, and we are going to evaluate it. I'll put into place something called Maine Star, which is an accountability tool, where we are going to be able to look at every single line item in the budget and everything that's going into every single line item, and you can be interactive. This was done in Colorado. It cost them $300,000, and in the first year, they saved $16 million in the duplication, getting rid of the duplication they found, in the efficiencies. Everything should be one-stop shop, absolutely, but I have done it in my own business. I've made organizations and systems efficient, and I have actually put this in place. So Maine Star and Maine Tops is a transparency tool. I don't know if any of you read my piece in the Bangor Daily News this week, but we just received an F in Maine for transparency. So we can talk about all these things, and we've had opportunity to make these changes, but we need to do it now. We need to bring all of these tools into the 21st century, and we have to make sure that economic and community development means something. But the first thing we have to do is we need a definition for economic development in the state of Maine. Who are we? Where are we going? And get buy-in from everyone. Because it's one thing to have, an office, but if you don't have a plan, how are you going to get everyone going in the same direction?
Steve Rowe.
Yeah, my definition of economic development is creating jobs that pay a living wage, jobs that are sustainable, jobs that are meaningful, and that's what we need to do here in Maine. The Department of Economic and Community Development is an office that does really good work, I think, in certain areas, in providing access to capital or assisting with that, business assistance. I think there needs to be a better correlation or between the state, the regional, and the municipal economic development efforts. But the real economic development is done in other places. And remember, we talked about education, we talked about health care, we talked about energy cost and the infrastructure. Education, that's economic development. That's tied directly to jobs. And that's as important as anything. That's your Department of Economic Development, education. Health care, Department of Human Services, shifting the delivery of health services from hospital-based care, where test and procedures, curative care, to community-based primary health care clinics. That's where we ought to go, keeping people healthy, not waiting until they're sick. You want to save money, you want to help business, you lower health care cost. Energy cost. It's critical that we reduce energy and transportation. The Department of Transportation is critical to economic development. Moving big trucks onto rails and having a way to finance our roads and bridges. The entire state government is in the economic community development business. We've got to build strong human beings and make sure that the structural costs for business are affordable. So this is how I look at it. It's not just a single small department called the Department of Economic Community Development.